everybody, welcome back to an episode of the 3 Count. I'm the greatest second place champion and the face of the 3 Count Mafia, War Machine MJ, and I'm here today to talk about Smackdown post Crown Jewel and a little bit about Crown Jewel. So let's go ahead and get started with Crown Jewel, shall we? Yeah, I didn't watch it. Just gonna go ahead and preface that because I just do not care. Originally, it started with me not watching it because of, of political issues, all that good stuff. But then I realized I just don't care. They blow this crap way out of proportions to the point where two men actually almost kill each other or heavily damage each other. So that's my little spiel on it. So let's go ahead and just plow through this. In the kickoff show, there was one match, and it was the 20-man battle royal to determine the number one contender for the United States Championship later on. It was, of course, won by Humberto Carrillo. No surprise there. To kick off the main show, we had Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez for the WWE Championship. A short, quick 2-minute match where Brock Lesnar retained. Thing was, they only let go 2 minutes just to protect Cain Velasquez since he's going in for knee surgery pretty soon. After the match, Brock Lesnar held the Kimura in, and Ray chased him off with a steel chair. Next, we had a tag team turmoil match to determine the WWE Tag Team World Cup, best tag team in the world. Whatever. The OC won. My boys Gallows and Anderson won. So yeah, OC, best tag team in the biz. Next we had Mansoor getting his obligatory win in Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury defeats Braun Strowman by countout. During the, they don't have it listed here, during the 20-man battle royal when Sunil Singh, the 24/7 champion, was kicked out of the ring, he was of course pinned by R-Truth, becoming a 21-time champion. Then later on in the night, he was pinned by the other Singh brother, Samir Singh, to become the new 24/7 champion. Yeah, for the first time ever in the 24/7 belt's history, two brothers have held the same championship independently. Hooray. Next, AJ Styles defended his United States Championship against Humberto Carrillo in a barn burner match, apparently, and retained. Then Natalya and Lacey Evans put on the very first women's match in Saudi Arabia. Of course, it wasn't unanimously appreciated, if I can say the word, because while Natalya was making her way down the ring, she got a water bottle thrown at her, and yeah, basically the male-oriented audience was not too happy with this match. Although the two women did keep it clean, keep it face, and they were covered. They were covered from neck to toe. Afterwards, they were hugging and crying, and then they go to the females in the audience and start hugging and crying. So yeah. Next, we had Team Hogan and Team Flair. Of course, the baby faces win. Whatever. And finally, the best news of them all. For the Universal Champion, Seth Rollins defending against Bray Wyatt in a Falls Count Anywhere match. The Fiend is the new Universal Championship. This isn't a drill. This is legit. The Fiend wins. So, yeah. Freaking forget about Crown Jewel with the exception of freaking Universal Championship. But before we dive into SmackDown, there were issues with Crown Jewel. So, Crown Jewel was to take place before, well, the day before SmackDown in Buffalo. And what they were going to have the talent do, since both of the SmackDown crew were on in Saudi Arabia. In fact, most of the WWE crew was in Saudi Arabia. They were going to have people fly to Buffalo the next night, yeah. But there were unspecified problems with that. Now, there's a lot of hearsay on what it is. People say it was legit engine troubles or something with the runway or something as of you know, something fell through with the contract, the contractually obligated agreement. Basically, WWE didn't get their paycheck for the last Saudi Arabia show, or for this show. Whatever the case is, apparently the talents were forced to tweet and Instagram, basically saying, "Oh, we're having some plane problems," and basically keep it positive. So a lot of hush hush, stick to the script kind of deals going on. So that led to a very up in the air SmackDown, where we were promised SmackDown Tag Team title match, women's title match, and the new Universal Champion Bray Wyatt on the Firefly Funhouse. We only got one of them. And apparently only a few talents were able to get out of Saudi Arabia before all this trouble went down. And those folks were Vince and his writing staff, Hogan, Flair, who, why should anybody give a about them, and Lesnar and Heyman. And speaking of Lesnar, let's go and jump into SmackDown, as we kicked off the show with said WWE Champion Beast and his manager. Heyman grabs the mic, Heyman grabs the mic, does his usual spiel, and says, "My client is pissed off." Throws to the Titantron, and they play all of the Brock Lesnar-Cain Velasquez match from Clown Jewel. So basically everybody expected, oh no, it's going to be a Clown Jewel clip show for SmackDown. Anyway, they get through the match. Paul Heyman's like, "Oh no, we're not done yet." Back to video package, and shows Rey Mysterio chasing them off. So I'm going to bullet point this segment because I really want to talk about the rest. Basically, Paul Heyman said Brock wants Rey Mysterio on a platter. Vince says, "I can't do that because Rey's a SmackDown star." Brock says, "Okay, well, you know what? I quit SmackDown. I'm going to go to Raw, and I'm going to go hunt down Rey Mysterio." Excellent way to get the WWE Championship on Raw, because SmackDown had both belts. So yeah, as Brock and Heyman bunch were walking out, you see Triple H and Shawn Michaels just kind of hanging in the background, because during Clown Jewel, I tried to call it right. Yeah, during Clown Jewel, they ran a promo for Survivor Series, because this year it's not just Raw versus SmackDown, it's Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. So yeah. Anyway, after that we had SmackDown champion Bayley defending against Nikki Cross, if I can get my words together. This was it was a really good match. Of course, Nikki Cross came up short. Bayley won clean as a whistle. Yeah, with a twisting face buster, which apparently that's what Bayley used to use on the Indies. Afterwards, Bayley barely got a chance to celebrate as the camera cut over to Sasha, who was at ringside, and she was immediately beat down by the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. Shayna hits the ring, chases out Nikki Cross, and just beats down Bayley and stands over her, proudly parading the NXT Women's Championship. So yeah, and the fun doesn't stop there because Sami Zayn was in the middle of a backstage promo where he was shooting on NXT when he was confronted by Matt Riddle and of course Limitless Keith Lee, who basically cornered him and said, "I'm sorry, you were saying what now?" Of course, Sami Zayn tried to defend himself. I'm wearing an NXT shirt. No. I used to be called the heart and soul of NXT. Hang on, I got an NXT t-shirt in my car. And he goes off to try and hide. Meanwhile, the Limitless One and the King of Bros were chasing him. This all makes its way down to ringside, and Sami Zayn was trying to, redeem himself. Trying to not catch a beating from two of NXT's darlings. Matt Riddle kicks off his slides. One of them is still in the ring. Sami Zayn tries to hand it back to him. Of course, the Bro of Bros and the Limitless One beat him down. Sami Zayn was, he tried valiantly to shake him off. Matt Riddle connected with a ripcord knee into the Bro Derek, which actually know what that is now. It's a Gotch-style tombstone piledriver, but he jumps with it. Afterwards, Keith Lee hit a moonsault from the top rope. Immediately after he bounced off Sami Zayn, he was just down in a sitting position. So yeah, this episode of SmackDown was less of an NXT invasion and more of an NXT invitation. Next, we were going to have Miz TV with special guest Bray Wyatt, but of course the whole issue was Saudi Arabia. So instead we were going to get Miz TV with special guest The Miz. So The Miz, he comes out, talks about how he's supposed to have Bray Wyatt on here, throws to a video package of the tail end of the Seth Rollins Fiend match, and basically said, well, since the Fiend isn't here, I'm going to host Miz TV by myself. And of course, I'm one to shock, and at that point, when he said shock, my first thought was, oh my god, Undisputed Era is going to hit the ring. No, we got something better. Because we got those familiar heartbeat sounds. Of course, it wasn't Taz, because no one will survive as Tommaso Ciampa made his way into the ring. And just shot on the Miz. Basically told him, said, while you're here playing the fool, I've been down in Orlando literally breaking my neck for this business. I'm busy being a wrestler while you're acting as a wrestler. So Miz fires back with, I've heard all that before. Why don't you step up and make a name for yourself? And of course, Tommaso says, them's fighting words. Cut the commercial, come back from it, and this was more of a competitive match than it should have been. Tommaso Ciampa should have just busted the Miz. Just got 85% of the offense. Miz gets one good rally and then he gets squashed. However, in the end, Ciampa destroyed the Miz with a top rope. Well, Miz was coming off the top rope, busted him right in the face with the knee, and put him away with the fairy tale ending. Afterwards, before we cut the commercial, Daniel Bryan was walking backstage when he spots Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Just for whatever reason, hanging out in the back. Not even in any office, just in the back. And so Daniel Bryan walks up to him, goes, "What are you guys doing here?" And Triple H goes, "Well, apparently you guys have been calling us out, so we decided to show up so you can air grievances to our face." Daniel Bryan goes, "No, okay, that makes sense. Well, I'm here for a fight." Triple H squares up on him. "Well, I didn't bring my gear, so guess you'll have to pick a fight with someone else. Why don't you try that Aleister Black? Oh, wait, he's on Raw. Never mind." Of course, in the background, while Triple H is giving his rhetoric, you see Shawn Michaels just take off his track jacket, like he's about to square up on his former pupil. And as they turn and look at him, he goes, "Oh, it's cold," puts it back on. I laughed my ass off on that one. And Daniel Bryan goes, "Well, if you two aren't going to fight me, then who?" And Triple H just kind of looks over and notions over. And my first thought was, oh my God, Gargano versus Daniel Bryan. No, we got something better. Because it was current NXT champion and Undisputed Era leader, Adam Cole, baby. Triple H puts his arm around him. He's like, "You want to pick a fight with him?" Daniel Bryan goes, "Yeah, but it's going to be for that NXT championship." "So good to you, champ?" "Oh, yeah." So, yeah, that was the main event. Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, baby, for the NXT championship on Smackdown. Give the brand some exposure. Come back from commercial break, and we were going to have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose taking on Dana Brooke and Carmella. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, I'm still not saying that freaking team name. Even though it's an official team name, I'm still not saying it. They were in the ring waiting on their opponents when they cut backstage to Bianca Belair laying waste to Dana Brooke and Carmella. After she put Dana Brooke out of her misery, she just deadlift and presses Carmella and then just chucked her over some road cases. Then Rhea Ripley's music hits. Her and Tegan Knox come out and basically says, "Well, you guys don't have any opponents. We'll be your Huckleberry." Yeah, this was pretty much a one-side match as Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox, two members of Team Ripley for the Women's War Games match, put down the team of best friends, beating them up. During the melee, Tegan Knox threw Sonya Deville over the announce table, and Renee Young, poor Renee Young, she caught some boots to the face by pure accident, and she seemed legitimately salty about that. Anyway, in the end, Mandy Rose tapped out to Rhea Ripley's Texas Cloverleaf. Basically, declaration of war to the main roster, or Raw and SmackDown, I should say. Before we get to the main event, talk about the announce team. So, when they started the night, it was Tom Phillips, Renee Young, and Aiden English from 205 Live. Then I want to say it was the Women's Championship match, they replaced Aiden English with Pat McAfee. Now, I'm not used to Pat McAfee. I'm the little bit of exposure I've had to him, I didn't like him because he called Johnny Gargano back when he was a heel an angry lawn gnome. It's not very creative. But during this whole show, he was legitimately hilarious. Like, yeah, he said a lot of dumb things, but his delivery was hilarious. Of course, he was over there just marking out. During the main event, he stood up out of the chair, and he was like, "Whoa, where are you at?" Pat McAfee's pretty good. All right. Anyway, that brings us to our main event. as NXT champion Adam Cole, baby, defended his championship against Daniel Bryan. And these two, oh, they got a 30-minute long match. Just pure technicality. Just a freaking back and forth beatdown between uh, two of the most prolific Ring of Honor champions. As you know, they put on a clinical and technical showcase. Uh, see, yeah, for about 30 minutes, they went out there, beat each other up. Oh yeah, before they kicked off this match, Triple H and Shawn Michaels came out, sat at ringside to watch this match. Stephanie McMahon talked about the first ever women's championship match, or the first ever women's champion match. Yep. Sorry, my mouth is running together. First ever women's match in Saudi Arabia. I had it muted because all I got from it was blah 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 blah, history, blah 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 blah, women's evolution, blah blah blah, all my idea. Anyway, back to this awesome fest. Move after move after move. They threw everything that they hoped would stick to the wall at each other. There was even a great moment where Daniel Bryan had Adam Cole on the outside. Daniel Bryan going for a suicide dive right in front of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Those two bail. Daniel Bryan hits Adam Cole with the suicide dives and lands perfectly in one of the office chairs. Fantastic. However, in the end, Adam Cole, baby, hit hit Daniel Bryan with a super kick right into the Panama Sunrise, and then the last shot for the victory. No interference from Undisputed Era at all. Squeaky clean win. The only Undisputed Era member we saw was Roderick Strong, who showed up at the top of the ramp, left, and then at the end of the match came in and just hugged Adam Cole. And he wasn't the only one in the ring, as a cavalcade of NXT women's and men's women and men hopped into the ring and you know stood side by side, basking in their glory because Keith Lee was there. Of course, Shawn Michaels and Triple H hit the ring, and Triple H basically talked about declaring war, and he gave the same spiel when he brought back D-Generation X. You know, you need family, you need blood, and basically capped off with "We are NXT." So I'm looking forward to Survivor Series. Not too. I'm kind of worried about all the champion versus champion matches. Don't know if they're going to be just triple threat or if there's going to be something funky with it. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to NXT for this week. And before I talk about NXT, there was a point they kept making on commentary. Since NXT had more or less been a part of Smackdown earlier in the night, they kept talking about, all these NXT stars, all these 205 Live stars, how they feel about NXT invading, or all these guys from NXT who have competed on 205. They kept bringing them up, standing in the ring. And the one thing I got with this is, isn't 205 technically part of the NXT brand? Because the championship is called the NXT Championship. It, it's just, it's kind of weird. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe they just branded it NXT Championship, so they have or the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, so they have a plan to fall back on when 205 falls. Anyway, we kicked off the show with NXT member Isaiah Swerve Scott going to take on Daivari, but Daivari attacked him before, while I'm trying not to call him Isaiah Cassidy. Isaiah made his, while he was doing his entrance. Damn, my brain is fried right now. Anyway, this match, Daivari dominated like 90% of the offense in this match. Isaiah, well, Swerve got some offense in, but he eventually won with a roll up. Or no, he did that Matrix kick for the win. My bad. Next, we had Jack Gallagher defeating some jobber named Ray Jazikoff. Jacketoff. Okay, all right. In the main event, we had the NXT Cruiserweight Champion of the Hour, Lio Rush, taking on Raul Mendoza. Now this goes back to their match last week, or Raul Mendoza's match against Tony Nese last week, where Raul Mendoza was basically saying, I could have beaten Tony Nese if you weren't, well, I could have beaten him by myself if you weren't at ringside. So he challenged Lio Rush to a match. This was a really good match. Yeah, just both these guys were trying so their hardest to outpace the other. In the end, however, the champ of the hour, hit the final hour for the victory. Afterwards, Lio Rush got towards the corner where Raul Mendoza was and gave him a fist bump as a sign of respect. So yeah, that was 205 and Smackdown for this week. Just an absolute bang up barn burner match, a barn burner show on the part of SmackDown. NXT, 205, not so much, but you really got to celebrate the genius of whoever made the play call to bring in the NXT talents. Because word on the street was they ferried them straight from Orlando with like 5 or 10 minutes before the show. So, yeah, props to them. Whoever thought that was a good idea to bring in NXT to make up for, well, another catastrophe with Clown Jewel. So, yeah. You know us, like, share, and subscribe. Come on, people. We could use more eyes on our product. As for our plugs, if you miss Rod's opinions, but not his ugly face, because nobody misses that, he has a podcast, Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime, on the CastBox app. Go check it out. He talks about sports and junk. That being said, I'm the face and the greatest second place champion in 3-count history, War Machine MJ, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.